Hey everybody, I'm Big Mike. I want to thank you for joining today. We've got Ray from NinjaTrader, the CEO and president of NinjaTrader, here today to do a presentation on NinjaTrader 7. And this month, June 2011, we're celebrating our 2-year anniversary on BMT. So all the webinars that we're doing this month, including this one, we've been giving away some really great prizes to celebrate the anniversary. And during this webinar, NinjaTrader is going to be giving away 2 round-trip tickets from anywhere in the world to Las Vegas for the November Traders Expo. And there's a $1,500 cap per ticket, but that should cover just about everybody. And then they're also giving away 1 2-year NinjaTrader license. We've also got 1 more webinar left for this month. It's going to be on actually next Wednesday, the 29th of June, and that's Al Brooks. He's coming back, and he's going to talk about his 3 new books that he has published and are being released to everybody in the coming weeks and months. He'll be talking about those books, and we're going to give away 10 autographed copies of those books, and you'll be able to choose if you want his old book from a couple years ago, or if you want to wait and get him to autograph one of the new ones as soon as it's being printed. We've also got an iPad 2 to be given away at the end of this month for our teaching methodology contest. And all in all, we've given away about $10,000 of prizes this month. So it's been really great. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. It's been fun. And I can't wait to see what happens for year 3. Okay, guys, so let me just cover some of the basics. We have a lot of people in the webinar today. So when you guys start to ask questions and you type them into the box to ask those questions, I'll send them over to Ray. But just have a little patience. If your question isn't answered in 5 minutes or so, you could type it again to see if he can answer it. But he won't be able to answer every single question. There's just simply not going to be enough time. The webinar can go as long as Ray wants to go, but generally speaking, we don't want to make it any longer than about 90 minutes. Okay, guys, so I'm going to turn things over to Ray, and I want to thank him once again for being here. I also want to remind everybody that the webinar is being recorded, and it'll be posted later today. Okay, so let's finish up the poll, and we'll see what the results were. The question was, do you currently use or do you actively use NinjaTrader? And I just kind of wanted to see where people stand in this webinar. So it looks about like 79% of people said that they do actively use it, 13% said they do not, and 9% have used it before but do not currently use it. Okay, you should see those. Okay, so I'm going to turn things over now to Ray. And I want to thank everybody for being here.
Yeah. Testing. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we see your screen coming in loud and clear. I'm not sure that you're sharing the right monitor, though. I think you're sharing the wrong monitor. We're seeing.
I see. You're seeing the screen right now with the control center for the webinar?
No. We're seeing your Outlook reminders, your Skype contacts.
Ah,
yeah.
There we go. Let me close that stuff down. Not that there's anything there you shouldn't see. Okay, let me see if I can change my screen here. Screen monitor 2.
Okay. Yeah, now we see the control center.
Okay, excellent. Thanks, Mike. Okay, thank you first and foremost to Big Mike, and congratulations for your 2-year anniversary. I appreciate you inviting me to come in and talk to the group here. And thanks to everybody here who is joining us today to come listen to me talk a little bit. I also appreciate the poll there. That at least helps me talk or at least cater what I'm going to talk about. Is since 80% of you are already active users, I guess there's probably not much point going through some of the basic stuff, but I will try to balance it out for those of you who are completely new to NinjaTrader, and also going to talk a little bit about some of the history behind the company for those of you who might be interested as to how the NinjaTrader application came to be. I also wanted to quickly just talk about the 3 prizes we're giving away. As Mike had mentioned, there's going to be 2 round-trip tickets to the Las Vegas Traders Expo this year, as well as a 2-year license. And as I understand it, and Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, there's basically going to be 3 questions that I will ask at the end of the session, and the first person that responds to, for example, I'll ask a question, and the first person to respond correctly to that question will be the winner of whatever prize that question is associated to. And the questions that I will ask are going to be based off of the content that I discuss here today. Is my understanding of that correct, Mike?
Yeah, you got it right. And also a couple things, Ray. You should be seeing a box on your GoToWebinar panel that says questions and a little button that says undock, and you can make it bigger. And as things come in, I'll assign them. As things come in, I'll assign them to you. And then when you get to the quizzes at the end for the prizes, just give me an extra second, because we're going to have 200 people all at once typing in an answer, and it's going to take me a second to find the first one and send it over to you.
Fair enough. Understood. Okay, excellent. With that being said, NinjaTrader itself, we're about 35 people. We're based here in Denver, Colorado, and we've got offices in Amsterdam as well as Bamberg, Germany. And as of actually just last week, I updated our website. We now have just over 33,000 active users. And what I mean by that is on any given day, there's about 33,000 people using the application. That's not 33,000 people in the last X number of years that have purchased the product. The product itself, as those of you who are using it know, it's what we call an end-to-end trading platform, meaning it's focused on stocks, futures, and Forex for both discretionary as well as automated system traders. The application itself, with the exclusion of live trading, is free for everything, including simulation. We don't prohibit anybody from using the application in any way, shape, or form, unless you want to actually trade live through a cash or live funded brokerage account, at which point in time we charge for the software. Now, there is an exception to that. We do have a few brokerages, or I should say the Zenfire as well as CQG-based brokers do offer a limited version of NinjaTrader. We actually call it the NinjaTrader Direct version, and that is available to you at no cost through those participating brokerages, and we limit the functionality in terms of removing some of the what we call automated trading management, ATM, as well as automated trading systems, OCO orders, chart trader. There's a number of different things that we kind of limit to make it available at no cost. Also, I should say, I see there's some questions here in this question box. Since I'm new to this webinar platform, or at least I don't recall using it before, generally the way I run webinars is I'll talk for a little bit and then I'll open it up for questions. And I think, Mike, you said you're going to be sending me the questions, right? I'm not going to see 100 million questions pop in. Is that correct?
Right. They come to me and I'll assign them to you. The quiz, I'll just assign you the first answer that comes in, and you just tell me yes or no if it's right, and then I'll send you others if it's wrong. That way you don't get flooded.
Got it. Excellent. Okay. Now, we also have a market data brand that we market. Some of you probably have already seen this. It's called Kinetic. It's our brand. The only thing that we don't do is the technology in behind the scenes. It's provided by Telvent DTN. Some of you know it as IQ Feed. They're our technology partner for Kinetic. We do provide end-of-day data for free through our Kinetic brand, and that's the reason why I'm bringing this up. So within NinjaTrader, for those of you who don't know, you can simply select File, Connect. There's a Kinetic end-of-day free option that you can never remove. You just simply connect to that, and you get end-of-day daily data for stocks, futures, and Forex. We are supported through hundreds of brokerages worldwide, I mean, I guess it's as simple as that statement. We're supported by hundreds of brokerages worldwide. We've been doing order execution since the inception of the product. That was our core business at first, and we branched out and let's say developed around that core feature over the past several years. Excuse me. We have a very large third-party commercial application developer community. At last count, we now have over 300 unique commercial and unique. What I mean by that is unique developers, not unique products. Some developers, of course, have more than one product. So we have over 300 commercially developed applications, indicators, strategies that support our platform. And then we also have a large community, including Big Mike, all the people at Big Mike, of course, that develop or user-developed custom indicators and strategies. That being said, let me just tell you real quickly a little bit about the history for those of you who don't know it. I myself started NinjaTrader back in 2003, and the original reason why I developed the product was to help my trading in the future space. So I was actually trading at Interactive Brokers, and I actually moved from trading equities to futures and found that the TWS, or Trader's Workstation, was quite lacking in terms of its ability to submit orders, submit stops and targets, and automatically manage my position through automated trailing stops and things like that. And that need basically drove me to build the application for my own personal trading. And as a result of that effort, about 3 months after I finished developing it, this was in July of 2003, I released the first version of NinjaTrader to the public, and actually within the first 2 or 3 days, I think I put on the website a week, but it was literally 2 or 3 days, and we had, or I had, about 300 people download and start using the software immediately, which I thought was pretty amazing. And I ended up running NinjaTrader and trading by myself until the end of 2004, at which time I had to make a decision as to whether or not I wanted to keep this product kind of as a hobby. I definitely made some money and was still trading, or if I was going to take this software and make a real business out of it. And obviously, you guys know what I did, with the fact that I've got 35 people working for me now. So that was kind of the history of how NinjaTrader came to be and where we're at now. So that being said, any questions here? I'll grab a couple of the questions that popped in. I'll also read them back to you first. I see a question here. I think it's from Chuck Watson. Oh, pardon me. No, it just says active trader. Ray, I would like to understand what the latest release of Ninja does or fixes that prior versions did address when you have a moment, because I stopped using Ninja in the past due to some issues and concerns I had at one time. Fair question, active trader, and I could answer it this way. NinjaTrader 7 itself has over 300 enhancements, not including all of the, let's say, under the hood changes and bug fixes and stuff that we did over NinjaTrader 6.5. I don't think it would be reasonable for me to be able to go through each and every single one of those to try to contrast what's different between NinjaTrader 7 and NinjaTrader 6.5. What I can say as a generality is that a lot of the performance issues that we had that were NinjaTrader related in NinjaTrader 6.5 have been addressed with NinjaTrader 7. From a usability standpoint, I think you would see that the application does not run out of memory as much, does not crash as much as it did with 6.5. So I think that's probably as much granularity as can get without consuming the entire hour here. As for active trader, John Carr, thanks for the statement. Awesome platform. Dean Davis. Oh, let me scroll back up because I see the window scroll down on me here. Dean Davis, Ray, would you please spend a minute and demo the replay feature? I have a very difficult time operating it with version 7. Let me put that on my list, and I believe that time pending, I should be able to do that. So mark it, and if I don't, please remind me at the end. Ray Burke, how many users are there now? 33,000 active users. how many subscribers in total. We don't break out, let's say, how many people use it for free versus how many people pay, but to a very granular level. But basically, it's about 50-50. You know, half the people don't pay and use it, and half the people trade live and use it. Are you planning on going public? Anita Mar, I guess first thing is if you go public, you're looking for some capital. We're not looking for any capital. We are a private company. We are a profitable company. We don't owe anybody any money, and we don't need any money. So I guess the answer is are you going public? The answer would be no. Hello, Ray. This is a question from Jerry Quigley. I've been using Ninja since version 5 and love it. Thank you very much. However, one thing that causes me a bit of heartburn is the indicators that cannot plot historical data. One false move, loss of data connection, for example, all the indicator signals are lost. I think without reading it, the basic question is there are some indicators that require historical bid-ask information. I'm assuming what this is about. And we don't preserve that, and I know that there are third-party products like GOMI Indicator, which let's say solves the gap. What I can say at this point in time, Jerry, is that our next major release we have already implemented capability so at the tick level, every tick with our next major release stores the bid and ask price with it. Therefore, you can then have that access to that historical data. And I'm sure you guys are going to wonder, when is the next major release? No time soon. Hey, and Mike, if you wouldn't mind just cutting off the questions here, I'll get through. There's quite a few here, and I figure because there's a lot of people in this webinar, we'll get a lot of questions. So let me finish off what's in here so I can start going through some of the software things. Joe Reese, why did you pick Ninja for platform name? That's a good question, Joe. I probably should have mentioned that before. In trading, I always thought that trading was like being a ninja, not in the sense that you know, you're violent and you're going to kill people, but the opposite of that, which is a ninja to me embodies the idea of stealth, patience, and discipline. So to give you an example, you know, ninja assassins would hide in the shadows. You wouldn't know they were there. They would be very, very patient and waiting for the opportunity for them to make their move. And when they did, they'd be in and out, and you wouldn't even know they were there. And so as I traded, I always thought of myself in that light as a ninja, just being very patient, being very stealth, being very cautious, and waiting for all the stars to align. And therefore, I always considered myself a ninja trader, and I just thought, for really lack of any imagination, I thought, hey, why don't we just call this Software Ninja Trader, and that's how the name came to be. From John Carr, 64-bit version on Windows 7 is perfect. Thanks for the comment. Jim Batesh, you once explained how trading off the trend line works. Could you show that again, please? Jim, I got to apologize. I don't recall when, at least as of recent, that I explained how trading off the trend line worked. I know that years ago, 5-6 years ago, I definitely talked to people more about my trading style then, but I don't recall in the last 4 or 5 years that I've done. So maybe you've confused me with somebody else, and if not, let me know what you're talking about. Maybe it'll jog my memory. Jupiter, how does Kinetic compare to Zenfire? It's a very good question. Zenfire is a trading engine, which in a trading engine meaning that orders flow through and go to the exchange, but they also have market data, since trading engines generally also process market data in addition with orders. Kinetic itself is a market data service. It doesn't execute orders, so the two don't compete. They complement each other. If you've got Zenfire, the only reason that you would want Kinetic, for example, is if you wanted to have a backup data service in the event that Zenfire or any other brokerage market data provider went down. The other reason that you might want Kinetic is because there might be more extensive historical data on certain instruments that the Zenfire servers don't track. Another reason, for example, Zenfire does not support index data, tick, trin, as an example, where Kinetic does. That might be another reason why you would use Kinetic. So it's really a complementary service in many different ways, and not a replacement service. Barry, I agree. I have problems with replay. Okay, thanks for bringing that up. Shuki, will Ninja run Linux platform? The short answer is not natively. I am not a Linux guy. I have no clue if there are Windows emulation applications for Linux. I suspect there probably is, and I can't attest to whether or not NinjaTrader would run without issue in some sort of an Windows emulation application for Linux. Bob Pickrell, how about single-click OCO entries? I guess you'll have to, we of course support OCO orders and OCO entries, but I don't know what you mean by single-click. Jonathan, hello Ray, will NT make full use of multi-core for running NinjaScript? I guess it depends what you mean by that. The answer, let me say it this way. NinjaTrader does support multiple cores in several areas of the application. One is backtesting optimization. Another area is on application startup. Yeah, I believe that might be it. That's not to say NinjaTrader is not a multi-threaded application, two separate things. Our next major version is fully multi-core supported, meaning the entire application will make use of all available cores on an app on a PC. Bob Pisani, just saw you on CNBC today, Bob. I'm interested, but having been using TradeStation since the early 90s and of course have developed a lot of studies indicators for my own use, what would be the reasons to switch to NinjaTrader? Good question, and I think it's probably a long-winded answer, which I don't think it's probably appropriate to go through. But ultimately, Bob, it really depends on if you're using TradeStation and there's absolutely no reason for you to switch, then I would argue why switch, first of all. Now, if there's things in TradeStation that you can't do that you want to be able to do, then of course you'd have to take a look to see what applications do that. I can say that NinjaTrader in the area of system development, you know, we run native code, meaning that it's not not proprietary. It's not run on the outside of the application. It's actually compiled, which makes things generally run faster. Our development environment is immensely more, how would I say, flexible than easy languages. It has its pros and cons. The pro is you can literally do whatever you want in our development environment. And you could attest to that if you look at some of the really crafty things that people develop, you know, even on the Big Mike forum. It's amazing what people can do with our application. That's the upside. The downside is that if you want to write something very quick and simple, I'm not that familiar with easy language, but you might be able to do that at easy language in a couple of lines of code, where with NinjaTrader maybe it takes 4 lines of code. Just, you know, it might take a little bit longer. So it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. NinjaTrader itself, again, we have brokerage support around the world, very many different brokers. If, for example, you're not liking your TradeStation brokerage, not the software but the brokerage, maybe that might be another reason to switch. You know, maybe you want to take advantage of some third-party developed applications for the NinjaTrader platform that aren't available on TradeStation. You know, and again, depending on what type of trader you are, if you're doing discretionary trading, my own personal belief, I think that our Superdome and ATM advanced trade management capabilities are superior to anything else in the market, but I'm, of course, biased to that. You'd have to find out for yourself. So hopefully that gives you a broad overview, Bob. That was all the questions, I guess, that Mike put in there for now. Thanks for cutting that off, Mike. I know that took about 10, 15 minutes, but I appreciate the questions. I know we've got a lot of NinjaTrader users in here, so I can expect that we're going to get a lot of questions. Anyway, so let me ask, I guess, Mike, is it easier, or pardon me, Mike, is it easy to do a poll? Because here's one way to do it. I could either go in and do a little bit of a software demo, although I'm not exactly sure how much value that might be to the 80% of the NinjaTrader users here, or I could just continue answering questions and showing things that people might want me to show. Okay. And I guess I'm wondering if we could just ask the audience what they would rather see me do.
Okay, yeah, I'll do it real quick. And there's probably another 20 questions or so. So for you guys that have asked those questions, you don't have to retype them. I'll send them to Ray here in just a minute. All right, so you want to know if we should do a software demo overview or if we should just do Q&A.
Exactly.
Okay.
Just figuring, since there's a large NinjaTrader user contingent in here, maybe seeing how to open a chart. I imagine most of them already know how to do that. So.
Right. All right. Everybody should be seeing the poll.
Let's see. Poll open. Oh.
All right. So let's give it just a second. We got 40% of people have voted so far. 60%. 70%. Okay, so basically, Ray, and you should see it now, everybody, 57% of people said software demo overview, 43% said Q&A only, so that's pretty tough.
Right. Okay, interesting. Okay, let's do this, and I'll tell you what. Because of course we're working within some time constraints here as well as attention span constraints. Let me do this. I will do a brief, kind of a cursory overview of the application for those of you who want me to do a software demo, and then after that I'll go back to Q&A. Hopefully that will satisfy the 50% on one side and the 50% on the other side. I was hoping that it would be kind of skewed more like 90%, but anyways. Okay, so let's dive into the application. So you guys can still see my screen, I assume, Mike. You can see all the control center. It's connected to Kinetic.
Yeah, everything's there.
Okay, excellent. Okay, for those of you who are not familiar with NinjaTrader, you can go to our website and simply download it. We don't ask a lot of questions. I think it's simply put in your email address, and that's it. We don't call you. We don't mail you anything. Mail meaning U.S. postal mail. So you can download the software very quickly and get started. When you start the application, you're going to see what we call the control center, which is what we're looking at here. Our approach to the application is that it's what we call SDI, meaning that as you open more windows, those windows themselves are free-floating windows that you can put wherever you want across as many monitors as you want. In contrast to what most of you might be familiar with, which is you open up an application and you open up windows, and those windows open up inside the application. The reason why we didn't do that was it's harder to manage, from my perspective, as a trader's perspective, a lot of windows in that manner. It's easier just to be able to select File, New, open up whatever functional window I want to work with. Let's say I opened up a Superdome and it actually popped on my other screen here. And I can move these windows wherever I choose. Okay, that's kind of the Windows approach. Now, there aren't very many menus up here. Basically, we've got the File menu, a Tools menu. Under File, you'll find, under File New, I should say, you'll find this is where you will launch any of the windows that you generally use for your trading, whether it's some sort of an analysis window or a trading screen. The Superdome that I've showed you, or it's now visible on the right side of the control center, is really, at least historically, our primary order entry interface. I should also mention that right now about 65 to 70%, I think we're at, of our users are futures traders. Another 20% is Forex, and the remaining whatever percentage is that, let's just call it 10%, are equity traders. And the Superdome really was our bread and butter feature for quite a number of years back, 2005, 2006. So why don't I start there? For discretionary traders, one of the main things that I tried to solve when I built NinjaTrader was being able to get my stops and my targets into the marketplace instantly without having to fuddle around with some order entry interface. So for those of you who are familiar, let's just talk Interactive Brokers Traders Workstation. For those of you who are familiar with their interface, their raw interface anyways, back in 2003, what you had to do was you place an order, let's just say to go long, limit order to go long the market. Once that order is filled, you would then manually put in your stop and your target. And if any of you have ever tried to do that in TWS line by line, it's cumbersome. It could take a minute to do it. And what I found when I started trading futures was that trying to put in my stop and target, when I had a stop of 4 ticks, the market, in some cases, sometimes had already moved past my stop before I had even finished putting my stop in. And that experience led me directly to creating the NinjaTrader product. And so the way that I addressed that was we have the ability to be able to predefine what we call an ATM strategy. At the bottom of the dome here, you'll see here, by default it says none. I'm just going to select custom, which means that I can custom define how I want my stops and targets to be sent once I have an entry order filled or partially filled for that matter. And we then provided the options to select any number of targets, whether I want 1, 2, or 3. Let's just go through an example. I could say something like this. I want to go long the market 2 contracts, and you can see I just put a value of 2 in my order quantity. I want to have 2 targets, 1 contract at each target. My stop loss, I want to have 4 ticks for both of those contracts, but my first profit target, I want to be 6 ticks, and I'm making numbers up right now, guys. And my second profit target, I want to be 12 ticks. And it's really that basic. So now as I throw in a limit order, you can see I've got a limit order there, and market's moving slow, so the simulator might not react until some market data comes in. But I just filled my limit order, and what the application does is automatically submit my stops and targets, visible by the red line for my stop and the green lines for my target. The other thing, too, I should mention is back when I started this thing, the other domes out there, from my perspective weren't visually, how do I say, I always used the term a long time ago, visually digestible, meaning I would look at it and I would not understand within a split second of looking at it what I was looking at. And so the other thing that I attempted to do, which I think we successfully did, was the ability to represent working orders in a manner that just was, red light, green light kind of thing. So red light, obviously, or red line means stop. We don't want the market to go there. And the green is where we want the market to go. And there's big, fat lines that go across the price, and it's just really easy to understand. And so back before we even introduced charting, before we introduced system development, this was the core feature of NinjaTrader. Was an order entry platform built to allow retail traders like myself, sitting at home in my underwear, the ability to make sure that I didn't have to worry about order management, position management. All of that was predefined ahead of time. I only worried about where I was going to enter the market. Once I entered in, I could focus on maintaining, let's say, focus on the charts or on the market itself in the event that I had to adjust any open positions and any orders that were currently managing a position. But what I didn't have to do is worry about the mechanics of placing an order, moving an order, and things like that. So that's the core focus of what NinjaTrader started out as. What we then did in late 2005, early 2006, it's already 5 or 6 years gone, when I decided to make this a real company versus just managing it myself, my vision at the time was to build an end-to-end trading platform, to build in around the order entry functionality, charting, analytics, system development, and to base it off of the Microsoft.NET framework. And for those of you that are, let's say, programmers, you can appreciate why we chose to go down the .NET route. It's really allowed us to grow our the extensibility of the product through application developers and through user-generated scripts. It was the right decision. It was definitely a bit of a scary decision a long time ago because it was relatively a new. We were pioneers in that area, and I think it's paid off for us. So that's the Superdome, and that's the concept of automated trade management strategies. And although I'm showing this to you in the Superdome, any of our order entry windows have this capability. One of the order entry mechanisms that has really taken off is chart trading. So for those of you who are using our charts, you have the same order execution and ATM capability within our charts. I think right now our charts are literally almost on par with the Superdome in terms of the number of users that use it for order entry. Okay, and I'm going to hold off on questions, guys, till I get through this presentation, and then I'll come back. Now, I talked about the order execution for discretionary traders. Let me talk about some of the analytics. Charting, obviously, is a basic analytic. File, new chart. First thing you'll see is what we call a data series window, which allows you to define the data series you want to plot on the chart. I'm just going to pull up a real quick chart for the S&P E-mini September contract. That's the ES0911. When you select a data series, you can parameterize it on the right. There's a number of different parameters that you can control to define the look and feel of the data series, whether it's a 1 minute, 5 minute, 100 tick, 3,000 volume, 5 days back, 10 days back, however you want. I believe for the most part the customization is on par with anything else that's out there, if not better. I hit OK, and it opens a chart. Let me move it over. Basic chart looks like this. Of course, you've got full capability for customization of all the colors, of the background of the charts, etc. We also have, by default, I can't remember exactly how many we have now, but there might be 120 plus system indicators, and I mean indicators that ship with the product or that are installed with the product by default. They're all listed here. Any custom developed self-custom developed indicators or third-party indicators would also be listed here. And adding an indicator is very straightforward. If I, for example, wanted to add an exponential moving average, I would just find it, double-click on it to add it. Again, same concept as a data series. Once you select an item to add, you parameterize it on the right side. Here you can set any of the indicator-specific properties, such as the period, and then kind of global indicator properties, things like whether you want the indicator value to calculate only on the close of the bar or update on every tick, whether it's included in the scale of the panel, what panel you might want to have it on. We do support indicator on indicators as well. And right here you'll see there is a field called input series, and by default it's assigned to the data series, basically that 5-minute chart that I have underneath there. But you could just click on it, and I can set that to whatever bar value I want, whether that's the high of the bar, low of the bar, etc. And I can also expand the indicator section. So I could take, for example, the EMA of volume, or basically any indicator on any indicator wherever it makes sense to you. And it's actually infinite. Not that that's a feature. I don't see anybody doing, EMA of an EMA of an EMA and doing that 100 times. It doesn't make probably much sense. Although my point in that is that it is possible to do. So if you wanted the EMA of a CCI, you would just, for example, select CCI. Maybe I'll just have a 14-period CCI. Hit OK. I'm going to put that in a new panel. And there's my EMA of a CCI, for example. So there's a lot of flexibility you have in terms of your analytics with charts. We also do support multi-series charts, so I can add any other series I want to this chart. So I wanted to add, for example, Microsoft 5-minute. I can just go MSFT. I just typed in plus MSFT, and it's going to get some data right there. And so now I've got a chart of Microsoft added as well. And so you can change symbols, you can change periods by just directly typing into the chart as well. So if I want to, let me just get rid of this Microsoft here. So if I wanted to change it to from 5 minutes to 1 minute, I could just type 1M, and the chart changes to 1 minute. If I want to change it to 100 tick, I can just type in 100T, hit enter. I don't believe I have any historical tick data on here because I cleaned my installation prior to this webinar, but it's loading up a bunch of tick data now from Kinetic. And we do cache our data, meaning once it's downloaded, we create a repository of the raw historical data, and we also create a cache of the bars. So once loaded and constructed, the subsequent times of loading charts up is really quick. So that's charts and analytics. Oh, pardon me, I should just say we have a number of other analytics as well. Market Analyzer. Let me pull that up and bring it over into view. And let me just add some instruments. So think of this like a quote sheet. So I just added the Dow 30. There's a bunch of quotes for the Dow 30. Oh, sorry about that. But the power of this is I can add a ton of columns. So I click on columns, and I can add any indicator column I want. I can set alerts on those indicators to show, change the color of the cell when certain conditions hit. So I can put other types of information like fundamental data. There's a lot of things that you can do in terms of ranking and sorting and filtering. So you could have the S&P 500, for example, a bunch of indicator columns, and be sorting on some value every 20 seconds or something like that to show what moves up to the top, so that you can kind of funnel in or focus in on a certain set of stocks that you might be, or instruments that you might want to be trading, but based off of the filtering criteria used in the Market Analyzer. You can also think of it like kind of a scanner, a real-time scanner. And let's see how much time we got. Now, for those of you who are doing system development, we have what we call the Strategy Analyzer, and this is our UI for doing the backtesting portion of system development. The actual script development is done in a script editor, although somebody had asked Mike at the beginning, how do you get started learning NinjaScript, and I think Mike's answer was dead on. However, let me also add this, that we do have a strategy wizard. And actually, let me just skip over to that real quickly. So if you go Tools, New, NinjaScript, Strategy, you're going to get a wizard that pops up. And I'm just going to skip through a bunch of screens here to get to the one that I want to show you. This is targeted towards non-programmers. So here you can create a bunch of conditions that say things like, when the following conditions are true, such as a cross condition, when a certain MA crosses over another MA, do the following. And do the following could be enter a long position. And so you can go ahead and create your automated trading system using completely a UI, this wizard approach. Now, using the wizard, it's definitely more, how would I say, it's not as flexible as coding itself. You always have more flexibility when you can directly code. So there might be things that you can't do with the wizard that, of course, you can do with coding. But the point of this is I could create a condition. Okay, and I'm not going to show you how to do this. I'm just going to do it because I want to show something, I guess the point I'm after. So I just created a condition which says something about one indicator equaling another indicator. But the important part I want to get at is you'll see here there's a button called View Code. I click that, it's going to actually bring up the Ninja script code that this wizard is generating. So what's going on in behind the scenes is as you're building these conditions, we're actually building the source code in the background. And so what you can do is say, okay, hey, look, I want to code a moving crossover, but I don't know how to code it. Let me build that in the wizard, hit the view code to see exactly how the code should look like. So another way to learn is, through examples. This is another way to actually create the examples that you want. If you want to learn the code. If you don't want to learn the code, you can still build trading systems using this wizard. Now, once you're done building your trading system, you would go here in the strategy analyzer, and this is where you would actually do your back testing. We support back testing. We support optimization. For those of you who are not completely familiar with system optimization, for lack of a more creative answer or long answer, simply think of it this way, that if you've got a trading system that uses several moving averages and you want to find the best moving average over a historical data set, so in other words, with this trading system, tell me what period for this moving average yielded the most profit over the last 2 years. That's what optimization does. It runs through, let's just for argument's sake, say hundreds of backtest variations to come up with the most profitable one and report that to you. And there's a number of different approaches to optimization. I just say that we do have a default optimization that would test every possible permutation based off of your parameters. And we also have a default genetic optimizer as well, which will optimize in much less time. However, it focuses in on an optimal range. It might not be the best range, but an optimal range. The idea behind genetic optimization is that it doesn't take as long. And for those of you who might be new to this kind of area, optimizations are highly dependent on various variables: length of your data set, complexity of your strategy, the number of variables you're optimizing on. We do have customers that are optimizing runs where they press the optimize button and they come back the next day, meaning it can take 24 plus hours. So genetic optimization might take 24 hours down to 2 hours, as an example. So all of your system development and backtesting, as well as optimization, can be done within the strategy analyzer. And then you can also use any of our simulation outlets for doing either real-time testing of both discretionary as well as automated system testing, or use our what we call, I guess I'll call it market replay. And somebody had mentioned that before, so why don't I talk a little bit about that. So we also have a concept or a feature called market replay. And what market replay is a replay of a recorded market. And it's different. There are some of our competitors who do, they might call it replay or playback, but they will what they call playback historical bar data, which is different than recorded market data. Recorded market data is really the recording of every single market data event, bid-ask changes, level 2 data, and last trade prices or time and sales data, all being played back event for event based off of an actual recording of the market. And what we do is we actually allow you to replay multiple markets at the same time. So we're not just replaying one symbol, but everything that was recorded. So for example, if you had a workspace that had, for argument's sake, 100 symbols, and you started recording market replay data at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, if you then did your market replay, it would replay that entire day just as if it was real time. You had full access to every single function window within NinjaTrader, so it's the simulation is as if it was in real time. You would, for the most part, I'll just go ahead and say that there is no difference, although technically there is, but the intent is to simulate and emulate the exact, not emulate, but simulate the exact experience you had in the market. So that's how market replay works at a high level or conceptual level. Now, how does it actually work specifically or practically? First of all, you need to have data. To make sure you have data, under Tools Options, let me see, I think it's under Data, you'll see a checkbox, Record for Market Replay. You need to have this enabled if you want to record the data that's coming into the NinjaTrader application in real time, to be able to replay that at a later time. So that's the first thing that you want to do if you want to have market replay. However, if you want to replay only futures data, you can skip this step, meaning you don't have to record it, because NinjaTrader has this data on our servers for you for free. Okay, and the way to access that, if you go File, Utilities, Download Replay Data, you can select whatever instrument you want. Now, I should put a disclaimer here. We record, I think it's about 40 different markets. I don't have a list of that, but we record about 40 different markets. So not every single market is available to you, and it is only futures. All the popular ones we record. So let's say I want to download some today's ES0911 data. That's the S&P E-mini futures contract. I want to download today's data, and I want to download, I'm just going to download level 1 and not level 1 and level 2 data. Level 2 data, that's very big files, so I'm for the purpose of the demonstration, let me download that data. You'll see here it says downloading level 1 replay data. And once you've downloaded that, and you can download as many days as you want, you do have to do it day by day. And once it's downloaded, you'll be able to then replay it. Now again, it's going to take a while because these data files are humongous. It's again every single tick or bid ask change and last trade for the S&P E-mini, which is the most traded futures contract, I believe. Okay, so data is downloaded. I'm going to disconnect from my, let me just close some windows here. So I'm going to go File, Connect, Market Replay. Now you'll see it says Connected Replay. If I pull up, here we go, you'll see this thing, a replay control. Now the replay control is akin to your VCR, pardon me, VCR, DVD, VCR, that shows my age, VCR control, DVD control. So play, pause, and increase the playback speed. This marker will show you where in time you are. You can also move that marker back and forth. If I right-click, I can select available data. It'll show you what available data you have to replay, the start time, the end time. So for now, I am going to replay just today's data. So I'm going to select from today to today and just hit play. And it's starting here. Let's move this timer up somewhere in the middle of today. Oh, let's go a little farther. And so you can see here it's replaying at 1 speed today's data, and here's the current time. This is market time relative to my local time zone. So this is, I'm in Denver. That's 8:49 a.m. Denver time. So you can see here, you know, there's market data coming in for the ES0911. I can go ahead, pull up a chart. And I've got to move my chart over. And you can see my chart. Again, this is all bid-ask last data all being replayed. I can speed it up if I want. The more times you click on this, though now I'm at 6 times speed. Let's go to, I don't know, 20 times speed. So now it's not skipping over data. It's really replaying the data 20 times faster. So we're not skipping any data at all. Now, replay is great because now I can do whatever I want here. You know, I can go ahead, I could test my trading system if I want. I can turn on NinjaTrader and go ahead and you know, basically trade the market. I mean, this is real data. So it behaves just like you were in real time. And hopefully those of you who talked or asked about market replay give you a little bit of a overview of how it works. If what I've shown you here now is not exactly what you're looking for, what I would suggest is feel free to fire in a support question, or I know we do market replay webinars. I don't know when the next one is. You'd have to check our webinar schedule on our website. Okay, so there was my high-level software overview to cover kind of some of the basic functional areas of the NinjaTrader application. And let me go to questions here. Let me see where
Yeah, Ray, there's about
I just got filled on that order.
Or 175 questions right now. I think that you left off. You can just look at the timestamps, maybe.
I see that.
Okay.
Let's see. I think it was close to 3 o'clock. Okay, I think I see where I was. Wow. Okay, 100 questions, guys. 150 questions. I'll take that as a compliment. Not sure if we're going to get through all of those. I will try my best to do. I'll try to go as fast as I can, but being as clear as I can as well. Okay, how do I find out if I have the latest version of NinjaTrader? Jack, oh, he's left, so I guess I'll skip that question. Pamela, when is a projected major release? I can't answer that now because I don't have an answer. For those of you who have been with us from 6.5 through 7, some of you might know that we made some pretty big errors in judgment in terms of projecting when we were going to have NinjaTrader 7 done. I learned a big lesson during that, and right now I really don't have any visibility as to when we would have our next major version out. All I can tell you is that this is a major version, much bigger than NinjaTrader 7 ever was. We've been working on it for quite a while already, and a lot of work has been done there, but there's still a lot of work left to do. And the short of it is I just don't know how long it's still going to take, and once I have more clarity, I will start releasing more details. And once I have also more clarity on what features I know for sure are going to be in there, I will start releasing more information on that. Jupiter Lovejoy, what about time synchronization between bid, ask, and last price? I'm not sure exactly what the question there is, Jupiter, so if you don't mind, if you can elaborate, hopefully we'll get to it. Traderman, with the next major release, timestamp data to millisecond granularity, Traderman 1, I can answer that question. Yes, with the next major release, we have actually timestamp granularity down to, in the .NET, Microsoft .NET architecture, down to the tick, which I can't remember how many nanoseconds. I think it's like, and I'm probably wrong, but I think it's 10 nanoseconds per tick or something like that. So it's even lower than a millisecond granularity. So that's already been implemented in our next major NinjaTrader version. The only downside, though, or not downside, there's no downside. There is a caveat in that most of our market data vendors do not provide granularity even past the second. Okay, so what I'm saying there is, even though we support a lower level of granularity, if you're getting data from a provider that only has second granularity or millisecond granularity, you're not obviously going to get any lower granularity than that. And I would say like 90% of our market data vendors don't even support millisecond granularity. Anyway, so FYI, but we do have a much finer granularity. Angus Fenton, why is the code writing and editing feature not available when using the Mirrors version? Real simple. Angus, on the direct free version, the live trading direct version, we make that not available. It's one of those features we decided to throw in as a limitation. Active Trader, can I use my broker's data feed, which is Infinity, to feed Ninja charts? We don't support Infinity's native feed, which is Transact. They're the same company. However, Infinity does support PAT Systems, which we do support. So if you're able to get a PAT Systems feed from them, then the answer would be yes. If you're only able to use the Infinity AT feed, which is Transact, then the answer is no. Demetris, can you run both at the same time, Zenfire and Kinetic? Absolutely. You can connect to multiple connections simultaneously within NinjaTrader. TraderMan1, will you be using a true SQL database versus the CE Lite version in NT7 in the future? TraderMan1, I can only answer that there are no plans at this time to go to the full SQL database. That's not to say that we wouldn't change it, but there are no plans at this time to do so. John Carr, man, you guys should make a pure Mac version. It would be killer. Then you can port it over to Linux. You know, ultimately, supporting a Mac is purely about economics, and the economics, you know, just aren't there at this point in time. But if ever there is a time where it would make sense, then we would definitely consider it. At least look at how that could be possible. Chuck Watson, training video on your website for market replay would be much appreciated. I use it, but would like to know more about it. Okay, Chuck, interesting. I would have thought there is a market replay video, but if you're saying there isn't, then that probably is something that we've overlooked, so I'm going to write that down because definitely we should have one there. That was for Chuck. Scott, will the new upcoming version supporting full multi-core computing support the TT data feed? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Scott, because NinjaTrader does support the TT data feed right now, unless I misunderstood the question. That was for Scott. Hey, Mike, I also should throw out here, we've been going at this for an hour. Now, I know that there's a lot of questions. I'm happy to stick around for a while to answer them, but I also know that some people might not be willing to stick around and might be waiting around to try to win these prizes. So do you think it makes sense maybe to say, okay, in 10 minutes we're going to do the prizes, and after that, for those people who want to stick around, I'll still go ahead and answer questions?
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
Okay, so let's say right now on my clock I've got 20 to the hour. So let's say at 10 to the hour we'll go ahead and hit you up for the questions and see if we can find us some winners. Active Trader, can I use market profile charting and market delta footprint type charts in NT? If yes, do I have to buy plugins from third parties, or is this native of NinjaTrader? Simple answer. NinjaTrader natively does not have any market profile or footprint type charts. We do have several commercial third-party applications for this that you would have to purchase, and I also seen, and I don't know how up to date, nor do I recall where they were. I would imagine maybe even on our support forum and/or on Big Mike's forum. But I know that there are third-party user-developed market profile charts for NinjaTrader that people have put up for free. I've never looked at any of these applications, nor have I looked at the commercial application to know what the differences are. But those would be your options, Active Trader. John Carr. Would it be possible to create a version of the dome inside the chart, right edge below the ATM strategy box? Let's say you can have a mini dome. John, I guess obviously it is possible. We've had requests. I personally recall a couple of requests for this over the last 5 or 6 years, but I don't recall ever seeing an overwhelming number of requests for that. So ultimately, all of the direction or feature development of NinjaTrader is done based off of user feedback and based off of demand and, let's just say, subjective discretion on my part of trying to get a pulse of what I think people really want when they ask for certain features. We've got, so you know, well over 1,000 individual feature requests on our list. We track this. We do provide tracking numbers these days. And I look at that list. And I've been looking at that list quite a lot right now as we are, in the midst of a major development cycle. So I guess I just wanted to comment on when people throw suggestions, what do we do with them? That's what we do. Javier, Ray, any intention to incorporate multiple targets in ATM as opposed to only 3? I'll answer it this way, Javier. Not with NinjaTrader 7. We have this on our list with NinjaTrader 8. I have yet to get to the time where I'm reviewing our ATM capabilities and how that can be improved with our next major version. I just said NinjaTrader 8, just so you guys know. The project is called NinjaTrader 8, although I'm not sure if it's going to be called NinjaTrader 8, but it's call it the next major version. So the intention, Javier, is to definitely review adding the capability for more than 3 targets, but I just haven't gotten to that point where I've even thought about it yet. But I guess I just want to let you know that it is something that I know is on the list and something I know I will be thinking about. Ted, I have difficult time using the global tracker. Can you go over that? If I want to trade 2 separate accounts, oh sorry, Ted, I'm not going to go over that because I'm going to try to get through as many questions. However, I'd be happy if you want, you can fire in an email to support and just make it to my attention and just say, hey, this is Ted from the webinar, and I can get one of my techs to help you out and give you a call and walk you through it. Art, okay, I'm going to skip over any questions since you guys don't see them anyways. Anybody who's left, it tells me, and I'm going to skip over those. So next question from Dan Kingsbury. I want the new release with historical bid-ask data. Is there some way to retrofit this most asked for feature into an earlier minor release? The short answer is no, Dan. Adding it in was, I guess I could just say it was a very major overhaul for us from an architecture standpoint. And so there's no way to retrofit this without serious consequence and instability that wouldn't be willing to put out. I'd rather, if people are upset about it, I'd rather take that than put out software that I think, could be unstable. Does NinjaTrader website have tutorials? This is KM Liebing. Absolutely. On our website, there's a support section, and under the support section somewhere, there's a link to videos and help guide, and there's literally 8 hours plus of recorded videos, tutorials on our software. Okay, 5 minutes, guys, until we go to the drawing or quizzes. Pete Zhu, on one workspace I have 8 charts. Is there a way to simultaneously display them at the same time? When I switched from some other programs, often I had to click in each individual chart one by one. Oh, okay, I see. Let me think. So the answer is no, because I think what you want is to bring all the charts from the background to the foreground if you're moving other application windows on top. Actually, let me write something down here because that's an interesting point. I'm writing something down because this is something I'm right now in the process of extensive UI design for our next major version, and this is one of those things that would come into play, so I'm just writing it down. Okay. Mike Schneider. IQ feed a special value-added symbols that back adjust the major futures contract. As an example, Ninja will not display these symbols. Yes, I believe we do display these, Mike. Let me just take a look here. So if you go, I'm back on my screen here. Under account connections, let's see, where's my IQ feed? So under the IQ feed, or Kinetic, whichever you're using, it's the same thing. You'll see here there's a checkbox, use back adjusted data, and I believe this is what you're talking about. If you check that, we will use the back adjusted data. If you don't check it, we won't. I believe that's what you're talking about, Mike. If not, let me know. Jupiter Lovejoy. I have a very simple strategy that uses reversals to enter and exit positions. Problem, NT7 enter and exits with the same bar when forward testing but not during back testing. If you mean forward testing to me means you're doing it in real-time simulation. And if you mean real-time simulation, then that would imply that the order or filling on the same bar would be, let's say, obviously real. However, you're saying in a back test that does not happen. And I believe in back tests it's because we're doing it at the granularity of the close of the bar. And as you reverse on, you know, I don't want to talk out of my mouth here. I believe I understand why, but I think it's better if you fire off an email or into our support forum to get a very clear answer on that, because I don't want to speculate exactly the logic that goes on. Peter, what is Tab Manager? I don't have it in my version. Oh, okay. Yeah. Peter, I guess you're referring to this Tab Manager. This is something only I see. It's because I have a special license key that's for admin. You guys, for example, also wouldn't see this admin tab. So it's just a specific feature for you know, us internal guys for doing internal stuff with the application. That's why you don't see it, Peter. Okay. Couple more minutes. Give me a sec. I just lost my spot here. Ray McCormick. Question regarding ATM orders. Are they submitted or local? If my PC die, will those orders get filled? I'll answer it this way, Ray. Our orders are native to the exchange where possible, or native to the broker server if not available at the exchange. There are, for the most part, no orders that are locally simulated. However, OCO capabilities, unless provided by the broker, are locally simulated. We do have on our let's see, on our support forum, I don't recall exactly where, but there is a sticky thread that goes through and outlines exactly where orders reside based off of the broker that you're using, broker technology you're using. If you have a problem finding that, just fire off a support email, and they'll my support text will point you to the right place on our forum. Michael Jones, can you activate an ATM strategy after an order entry has been executed? Michael, I'm embarrassed to say that I don't recall with NinjaTrader 7. I know we had that capability with NinjaTrader 6.5, and I don't know if we carried that into NinjaTrader 7 or not. So that will be a question you'd have to ask my support guys. I apologize for not knowing the answer on that. Okay, guys. Time for the drawing. Let me see if I can, give me a second, because I want to mark the time where I'm at on my questions.
And okay, so just to briefly go over the rules for everybody, what we'll do is Ray's going to ask a question, and Ray, is it, I don't even know, is it multiple choice, or are they going to like just type in an answer that's, that they, you know, some...
Pretty much 1-2 word answers at most, I think.
Okay, so whatever the answer is, just type it in, guys, and then I will send that over to Ray. He will tell me if it's correct or not. And Ray, if you would also just be clear as to what prize that question is associated with, so there's no confusion. And then once Ray tells me that we have a correct answer, then I will ask you for your BMT username, and I'll work with you and Ray and you know, get you guys in contact with each other to get it taken care of.
Sounds good. Well, let's go with the, let me just look at my questions here. Okay, let's go with the 2-year license. So this is a prize, I guess, worth, what is that, $1,200 or something like that? So a 2-year NinjaTrader license. Actually, I didn't even specify if that was a single broker or multi-broker license, so let's just make it a multi-broker license, which would be even more of a value, I think. I even probably don't even know what it is, maybe $1,500 to $1,800 value. So here's a question. What broker was I trading at when I launched NinjaTrader?
Okay, give me just a moment. We've got literally a couple hundred answers, and it takes my chat a second to. So everybody can stop typing, please, because I got to go find the first answer here. Okay, is that the first answer, or is that the correct answer?
That is a correct answer.
Okay, Gary, if you will type in your username, I'll contact you on the form.
That's Gary Close, in case there's more than one Gary, right?
Oh, yeah, thank you. Good point. Okay, so next question.
So congratulations, Gary. Okay, so the next two questions are for the airfare prizes. So again, just to reiterate, two prizes, identical, full round-trip tickets for wherever you are in the world to Las Vegas Traders Expo this year. The time and dates, we'll work with you on that. We're flexible. If you want to come in a week ahead of time and gamble, do whatever you want, no problem. There is a maximum on that, which is $1,500. And I also should say, and we will be booking the flight, meaning, obviously we will be looking for the least expensive flight within reason. I mean, we're not going to, have you fly 30 hours if it's a 4-hour, optimal flight kind of thing. So, so here's a question. What month and year was NinjaTrader first released to the public?
Okay, getting tons of answers, and also I failed to mention that the correct answer for the last question was Interactive Brokers. Okay, let me go back and try to find, the first one. Okay, is this correct?
Let me see. Nope. That was AMP? Yeah, so let me just make sure. The question was, what month and year was NinjaTrader first released?
Oh, I'm sorry. I selected the wrong one. It's the one below that. My screen shifted, and it's still shifting. Everybody can stop typing now. I think we've got the answer by now. Okay. Let me try this again now that my screen's not moving.
Ha! Congratulations, Alan Rodriguez.
Okay, Alan, type in your BMT username for me, please. And so the correct answer is July 2003.
Excellent. Wow, so this is a good memory, guys.
Okay, Alan, just type in your BMT username so I can make sure I can get that.
I gotta say, this is kind of exciting. I'd like to win a trip to Vegas.
Yeah, it's really a great prize. All month long, all these prizes and quizzes have been pretty fun. We did a webinar with Surya Didella on chart patterns, and man, he has some pretty tough questions. We had to go to answer number 9 and 10 on some of those to get the right answers. So it was pretty fun.
Yeah,
okay.
I figured mine are pretty easy. So next one, get ready, get your fingers ready on the keyboards here. Outside of Denver, name another city where we have an office.
Okay. Find the first one. And I also just saw a different Gary ask if he was the winner on the first one, and no, I'm sorry, but it's not the right Gary. We already got the winner for the first and the second one. Okay, third one. Here is the first answer. Is that correct?
Yes, that is Eddie. I can't even say Eddie Katachan.
Okay, Eddie, type in your BMT username. So the answer was Amsterdam. Is that Bamberg in Germany?
Yeah, Bamberg, Germany. It's either one would have been fine. He put in both, so man, I don't know how you type that quick.
Okay, Eddie, type in your BMT username, please, so I can keep track of that. Okay, so we got two different people, each won a round trip ticket. And like Ray said, he'll take care of the details. But what I'll do is I'll contact you guys, and then you can work with Ray about what dates you want around the expo. And we got 1 2-year multi-broker license. So
Hey, Mike.
yeah.
I'm feeling kind of generous here. Let's just do one more token thing. This is kind of fun. If it's okay with you.
Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. So how about this? I'm going to give off, again, this is just a token prize. One quarterly subscription for a multi-broker license. So I'll give you guys a second to get ready, because you guys might have thought it was over, because it was over, but I figured I'm having fun here. So here's a question. How many active users do we have?
Okay. I think you have, wow. Give me a second here. Got to get the screen to stop scrolling. Okay, here's the first answer.
And that's correct, 33,000. Answer or prize goes to Mr. Greg Perks.
Okay, Greg, give me your username, and Ray, let me write that down. So it's a NinjaTrader 3-month subscription.
Correct, multi-broker.
Multi-broker. Okay, and Greg, give me. Okay, got it. Okay, and I need to find one more username here. Let me look back in the chat. So Ray, I guess you can go back to answering questions that were left, and even if the webinar runs long, you can basically stay as long as you want personally. I know a lot of people tend to come back and watch these webinars later, next day, next week, next month, and they skip to the end and get all the Q&As. So as long as you want to stay, go ahead.
I would love to stay as long as I could. I actually have to leave in about 20 minutes. I've got to get home. We've got actually our mid-year annual company dinner event here this evening. For we do a lot of events here for the company to make sure my team is feeling good for where they work, motivated and things like that. So I got to leave in 20 minutes to get ready. However, I doubt I'm going to get through all these questions because there's still a ton in there, as you know, Mike. But I am happy to come back and do a Q&A specifically should your member base demand that they would like me to do that. So I'll leave that up to you to let me know if you want me to come back, at some point in time just to do a Q&A.
Yeah, I think that's great, and yeah, that's fine. And also, I want to say one more thing. We do have only one webinar left this month. There were a few people typing in just now. There's one webinar left this month for the 2-year anniversary. That's the Al Brooks webinar next week, and you'll be able to sign up for it later today or tomorrow. But yeah, I'd be happy to have you back, Ray. I don't know if we have room in July, but we could maybe do it August. That'd be great.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Okay, so let's see how many questions we can get through before you have to go.
Okay, so let me scroll up to see where I last left off. Give me a sec, everybody, to get there. Okay, here we go. Question, Rob W. First of all, hey, to all of you who have participated in that quiz, thank you for that. That was really fun for me. I really enjoyed that. That's the first time I've handed out prizes like that. So thanks for participating. That was really cool. Rob W. After you're in a trade, if you move 2 staggered targets to the same price, is there a way to separate them again if you decide you want 2 targets again? Rob W., I believe there is. Give me a sec. I will just look. I'm going to do this on the Dome real quick. Give me a sec to actually to connect to where I get some moving data. So your question was 2 targets. So the question basically, if you have 2 targets and you move them together and you want to separate them back out. Okay, I'm going to have to wait here a sec. Oh, there we go. Okay, so if I move one target on top of the other target, oops, let me see. I guess the answer is not directly in the Dome. I'm just looking, and I don't see a way to do that. Rob, however, what you could do is in the Control Center, is actually separate them out there. So for example, I'll pick one of the targets in the control center. I'm just going to decrease the price by a tick, and then obviously you'll get the visual representation you want on the dome. That was for Rob W. Javier Montero, your chart trader did improve and simplify my trading considerably. Thank you. And well, thank you, Javier, for the comment. Scott Cunningham, I may not have been clear. Will the new upcoming release of full multi-core software support the TT data feed in a 64-bit? As of now, let's see. As of now, it only supports TT in 32-bit. The answer, I'll say it this way. I believe it will, Scott. The reason why we don't currently support TT in 64-bit is that the underlying fix engine, this is some programming terms, but basically there's some technology that is used in between TT and NinjaTrader called a fix engine, and that fix engine that we use only supports 32-bit. And that's why we don't support 64-bit, because they need to support 64-bit for us to support 64-bit. With our next major release, we are looking at overhauling our what we call our TT adapter and going to a different fix engine that does support 64-bit. However, that work has not yet been done. That is our intent, and that's why I'm kind of qualifying it to say that our intent is to do that. However, since it hasn't been done, I can't commit that it will be done, although it is our intent to do that. That's answer for Scott. Traderman1. Ray, I've been a long-time user of NinjaTrader for automated strategies. However, have been slow to migrate to NinjaTrader 7 because we find that the identical strategies converted from 6.5 to 7 cause ND7 to hang consistently, whereas in NinjaTrader 6.5 this was never an issue. Is this being addressed? Traderman, now I'm not sure if you had reported this to our support team or not, but as you could imagine, I'm not privy to every single support case that comes through our company. We deal with between 400 and 600 cases a day. Where I'm getting to is, if you have not brought that to the attention, then please do so. And if you had brought it to our attention, then you could always send an email to my attention, and I could take a look at that. Because at this point in time, I'm personally not aware of any issue there. Not to say that there isn't an issue. I'm just saying I'm not personally aware, so I can't answer your question about is this being addressed. However, if there is an issue, then for sure we would want to replicate it, understand what it is, and at least provide you feedback as to what's going on. Next question, Calvin Payne. Can you touch base on why NinjaTrader 7 takes a somewhat long time to refresh after updating an indicator? I guess I'm not sure what you mean. To me, it doesn't take a long time, but that doesn't mean, or let me say it in a different way. Because of the flexibility of our platform, you can develop an indicator that could be very CPU intensive. Okay, and because there's so many user-submitted indicators out there, whenever you install something like this, you run the risk of installing code that may not be that efficient, or may be poorly written, or may have a bug that causes the NinjaTrader to hang. It's part and parcel of the ups and downs, or the pros and cons, I should say, of our development environment. It offers such flexibility that you can do whatever you want with it. But it's a double-edged sword, because somebody could literally write one line of bad code. I can write a loop. A loop simply means I can write some code in 1 or 2 lines that will never exit, meaning NinjaTrader will lock up. Anybody could do that. So the only thing I could say is, if you've got some indicators there that take some time, maybe there's something within the indicator itself, or maybe you've got a ton of data you're trying to load. If it's a system indicator, stuff that we provide, I can't think of any of those indicators that run inefficiently. And I would say that putting an indicator in a chart would run, would calculate literally in split seconds. Let's see, Jupiter, Mikey covered stuff. I see. Active Trader, can I plot an indicator based on a different series on that 5-minute chart? Yes, you can, Active Trader. So basically, you can put multiple series in the chart. You can then apply the indicator, for example, to a 1-minute series, and then take that indicator, let's say a moving average, and then drag it and drop it on the 5-minute series. So absolutely, you can do stuff like that. That was for Active Trader. Calvin Payne, how do you cache the data? So what Calvin's asking about is historical data. Basically, the way it works is as follows. NinjaTrader stores raw data in the denominations of tick, 1 minute, and 1-day bars. So as you request, let's say, a 5-minute bar series chart, and you've never requested that specific instrument before, we download the historical data in 1-minute format from, let's just say, Kinetic. We then store that 1-minute data in files on your hard drive. We then build 5-minute bars by aggregating 5 1-minute bars to create the 5-minute series. We then write to file as well what we call a cache of those 5-minute bars. Thus, next time you request a 5-minute chart of that instrument, we're not going back to the 1-minute bars and reconstructing 5-minute bars. We just go back to the cache and reload the 5-minute bars that we previously created. And that's how the cache works. So next time, if let's say you wanted to plot a 15-minute chart, well, we now have the 1-minute raw data in on your hard drive. We don't have to go to the provider, but we still don't have the 15-minute bar, so we have to construct those 15-minute bars, and we write the 15-minute bar files to cache as well. So next time you request a 15-minute bar, we retrieve that from the cache. Hopefully that is a high-level explanation of what's going on underneath the hood, Calvin. Jupiter Lovejoy, any plans to support user-defined price bar construction logic for bar types other than time, range, volume, and tick? Jupiter, we do actually, okay, I guess let me answer this. We provide the capability for people to develop custom bar types. That's already in NinjaTrader 7. On the Big Mike forum, you will even see there are people who have already developed custom bar types. I think I've seen like stuff Better Renko. I can't remember. There's a few different user-created custom bar types. So we don't support it in that we provide technical support to help people develop them. We provide the capability as an as-is capability, meaning people can see how we've done it and kind of plug and play and figure out how to do it themselves. But at this time, we don't provide support on how to do that. I intend to change it at some point in time. Ultimately, the problem with that is a resource thing. I don't have people at that level that can provide support in that manner or at that level. If I try to, the bottom line is that's advanced programming stuff. Any programmer out there, I can't hire to do support because they don't want to do support. So I have to hire people who do support that have basic programming and real basic programming, if any at all. And they don't have the capability to do that. It's a catch-22, and it's one of the challenging aspects of staffing up a support department with advanced capabilities in the programming area. And so that's why you see a lot of the times we don't provide support for things, and we say, yeah, we aren't able to support it because we just really are unable to support it, except for my developers, and my developers aren't support people. Okay, I got about 10 more minutes. MBT has a live demo server, or does MBT have a live demo server? This is Tomas Mero. I'd like to test my script on a demo account using live demo servers before I buy. Otherwise, does it require live NT serial? So Tomas, yes. Our definition of live is any order that's submitted outside of the NinjaTrader application. We don't make a difference between whether an account and a broker is a demonstration account or a live cash account. In some cases, we're unable to make that determination. So for you to test, you do have to buy it, a live trading version, although you can use a, you could just sign up for our minimum requirement, which is a 3-month subscription to do that. KM Liebing, can you plot 34 EMA of the 15-minute chart? Okay, so EMA or KM, I did answer that question from somebody else above, which was simply, can you apply a indicator of one series onto a different series, and the answer is yes. Bill Doob. Plus, you have a 999-page manual with extensive hot-link video tutorials. So another, I guess, a compliment. Thank you very much, Bill. Yes, we have a very extensive manual for sure. Patrick Karahar. Can I write code that recognizes a bar color change? Absolutely. Let me think. We do have color series, and you can check them. I want to say the answer is yes, Patrick. Yeah, I believe the answer is yes. But don't quote me. Don't hold me to that. Bob Pisani, I assume you can set the speed of the market replay. That the answer is yes. Traderman1, will replay data be timestamped to a lesser than a second, i.e. millisecond timestamp in future releases? Traderman1, with our, not in the NinjaTrader 7, but with the next major release, yes. Our replay data actually goes down to the tick as well, and we've made a couple of changes in the storage of replay data. Right now we store level 1 and level 2 data in 2 separate files, and with the next major release we're storing it in one single file, meaning that the sequence of all the events between level 1 and level 2 data is preserved, so the sequence of every single event between level 1 and level 2 data will be as it was recorded, or as it came in from the market, which I think is the source of the question about the millisecond timestamp. Peter, the future replay data is also available in the free version. Yes, it is, Peter. I'm getting error. Can't download market rate. Okay, so he's left. Okay, let me go. Peter. Could you please show again where the download has to be started? I think he means market replay. So on the screen, I'm going through File, Utilities, Download Replay Data. Okay. Active Trader, how do I change the order type in the Superdome? If I want to use a buy or sell stop, for example, Active Trader, different buttons correspond to different order types. So left mouse clicking will put in a limit order. Middle mouse click or the scroll wheel button on your mouse initiates stop market or stop limit orders. Dean Davis, my problem with replay has been that the charts don't update in line with time on the replay bar. Dean, you'll have to send that one into support to understand what's going on. I think it might be, well, I guess I probably shouldn't comment on what it might be, but this would be a support issue that you'd have to send in, and we'd be happy to help you out on that for sure. Vance Burns, tell me how to maximize responsiveness. Take the lag out of Ninja. What are Ninja Staff's resources? Best configuration to maximize Ninja performance. If you go to, give me a second. On my screen, you should see the help guide. Let me look for it. Okay, so under configuration, there's I don't know if I can type something in the room or not, Mike, like a link.
You can. There's another box.
But there's a section in the help.
There's a box that says chat, and I think
okay,
you have an option that says entire audience.
I see it. Okay. I just posted in a link. This was for Vance Burns. This will answer your question you're looking for. How do you maximize responsiveness? Sal. I'm sorry, Sal. I have a hard time pronouncing your last name. Buzgaya. Question is, does NT7 record data for instruments by listing them on the market analyzer, or only the ones on active charts? NinjaTrader 7 will record data for any instrument that's receiving market data. provided that you have the market data recorder on. Wow, there is still a lot of questions. Interesting. Okay, I've got a few more minutes, guys. Anthony Tregelis, can you explain any known differences between market replay and live, if any? Sure. First, market replay does not, how would I say it? Actually, let me just think. I think we might even have something that, give me a sec. Basically, there could be situations between level 1 and market replay where the sequence of the data is not correct. And what I mean by that is maybe you get a bid change in level 2 that is ahead of where it probably happened in real time. For all realistic and practical purposes, it shouldn't matter to you, and you would never notice it. But this is just from a technical under the hood. That would be the difference. Other than that, really, there really isn't. It's just a different data feed, just as if it was real time. Jeff Gass, I love your software webinars on your site. Will you guys do some about the control center tabs? You know, Jeff, nobody that I recall has actually asked us for that, so I know that we don't have anything in the works for something like that. But I'll keep it in the back of my head, because for sure we're always trying to add as much help content as possible. Gordon Gecko, Ray, are you saying you can only ever download one data time on the Market Replay downloader? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying, Gordon. And yes, I know that's inconvenient. Max Kingsbury, any idea on when there might be a beta version of Ninja with bid ask data? No idea at this time, Max. No time soon. And when I mean no time soon, I mean, you know, no time in the foreseeable future. We already have it, but I just can't give you a date on when we would even be ready to put something out. We still have a lot of work to do. And let me see. You know, guys, I think I'm going to have to wrap it up. I got literally 20 after 4 my time. I apologize to all of those questions, all of you whose questions I am unable to get to. However, I am happy, as Mike said, to come back here in August and do a Q&A. And maybe, Mike, what we could do is, I guess, I'll just make sure I don't have any event to go to that night, so I can stay as long as it takes.
Right. Well, we can make it more technical on the next go round. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, Ray. You did a great job. I'm sure I speak for everybody, and I want to thank you for your time and the prizes and the presentation today. And I want to remind everybody that it is recorded, so if you miss something, you can watch it later today or tomorrow on VMT. Also, if there's any questions that you really want to get answered that Ray didn't have a chance to do, then you can just send, well, you can put it in the thread, first of all, and you can maybe answer it there, or you could probably send an email to support@ninjatrader.com and put attention Ray in the subject line, and I'm sure he'll do his best to take care of it. All right, guys.
Thanks again.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. I want to remind everybody to not forget to register for Al Brooks' webinar, which is next Wednesday, and I'll see everybody on the forum.